Hart had seen it all in his 32 years as an exorcist, things that would make most people run screaming. But in recent years, he'd almost forgotten what fear felt like. Almost. That changed with the call he received on a cold October night. "It's unlike anything I've seen," Father McGrady told him, voice low and trembling. "She's getting stronger." Jared took a breath. He knew the priest well and had never heard him sound so shaken. "How long has this been going on?" 2 weeks. He thought it was a routine possession. But she knows things, knows everyone's secrets. She even knew about the day you... Father McGrady paused, unable to finish. Jared's blood went cold. He had told no one about the dark moment that had led him to this work, years ago. No one. "I'll be there in an hour," he said, grabbing his coat and the small, battered case he kept in his car, always ready for work. The address took him deep into the country, to a farmhouse shrouded by looming trees. Jared stepped out of his car, scanning the dark surroundings as the cold wind howled. The house was dimly lit, and even from outside he could feel something wasn't right. As he entered, he noticed the tension on every face he saw. The air was thick with fear, and Father McGrady greeted him with haunted eyes. "She's upstairs. The family is waiting in the guest room. Just be careful, Jared." Jared gave him a confident nod, but inside felt a pang of doubt. He climbed the narrow stairs, feeling a sense of foreboding creep over him. At the end of the hall, he found her, Sophie, the possessed girl, tied to her bed. The body seemed impossibly still, her chest rising and falling in shallow breaths. Jared took a step closer, and suddenly her eyes snapped open. They were dark, depthless pits that made him recoil. "So, you're the one they call the Exorcist," her voice as thick and cold as the night. "Funny, you look more like a lost soul than a savior." Jared was used to taunts, but this felt different, more personal. Ignoring her, he opened his case, pulling out his tools, a rosary, a vial of holy water, his prayer book. As he began to chant, Sophie laughed, a low, unsettling sound. "You think words can save you?" she whispered. "Or maybe you're hoping they'll save you this time." Jared's voice faltered. He hadn't told anyone about his past, but she spoke as if she knew. He shook it off and continued, louder now, voice filled with conviction. The room darkened, shadows twisting and writhing on the walls. Sophie's face contorted, her body bucking against the restraints. But even through the exorcism, her eyes never left his. The first night passed without success. Jared spent hours praying. Sophie remained unchanged. Exhausted, he retreated to the guest room and found the family. Sophie's parents and her younger brother, Isaac. Pale, silent, her eyes filled with terror. She hasn't eaten in days," Sophie's mother whispered. "She only speaks when we're here." Jared forced a reassuring smile. "Don't worry. I've seen cases like this before. It may take time, but we'll get her back." He tried to sound convincing, but something about this case unsettled him. It felt like he was walking into a trap. The darkness around Sophie was a web, slowly drawing him near. In the dead of night, the noise awoke him. It was a soft whisper carried through the walls. He followed the sound to Sophie's room. She was awake, her face illuminated by the moonlight filtering through the window. "Jared," she called softly, her voice barely above a whisper, "I know what you did." He froze. "You're no exorcist," she continued, her voice dripping with malice. "You're a coward, running from the thing you fear most, yourself." Before he could react, she laughed, a hideous sound that echoed through the empty house. Jared stumbled back, feeling the walls close in around him. Her words pierced him, breaking through his years of training and self-assurance. The next day, Jared felt a growing sense of dread. His hand shook as he reached for his prayer book, but he pushed forward, determined to finish the exorcism. He began his prayers, and Sophie thrashed on the bed, her body arching unnaturally. But still, she mocked him between screams, throwing his darkest secrets back at him. By the third day, Jared was at his breaking point. Sophie's words gnawed at his mind, filling him with self-doubt. What if she was right? What if he didn't have the strength to do this? Father McGrady found him that evening, pacing outside the farmhouse, eyes wild with worry. "She's breaking me down, Father," Jared confessed. "It's like she knows every weakness, every mistake I've ever made." The priest's face darkened. "There's something different about her, Jared. I've seen possessions, but this feels like a curse, like someone unleashed her." Jared's eyes narrowed. "Unleashed her?" Father McGrady nodded. There's an ancient rite, one used to bind demons to a soul wound. I believe someone cursed Sophie's weekend. Jared felt a cold wave wash over him. But who would want to do that? Father McGrady's expression darkened further. Someone who knows her. Someone who wants revenge. As Jared pondered this, memories came flooding back. Years ago, he had performed an exorcism on a young woman named Marie, who had died during the rite. Her family had blamed him, accusing him of recklessness. He had buried the guilt deep within. But now, he wondered if they had truly forgiven him. With grim determination, he returned to Sophie's room. She greeted him with a twisted smile. Do you know what happens to those who play with fire? She sneered. They get burned. The room seemed to pulse with dark energy. As Jared tried to continue the ritual, Sophie's voice changed, growing deeper, more sinister. Do you see now? I am no ordinary demon. I am the vengeance of a mother's grief, a father's wrath. I am here for you. And in that moment, Jared understood. Sophie wasn't possessed by a random demon. She was a vessel for Marie's parents' hatred, a curse given form. He stumbled back, his hands shaking. The darkness around her was not just supernatural, it was personal. Someone had gone to unimaginable lengths to trap him in his own fears, using Sophie as the bait. Jared knew he couldn't fight this alone. He reached out to an old mentor, Sister Elaine, an exorcist of considerable skill and knowledge. Jared, you're dealing with a hexed possession, she explained. This isn't about freeing Sophie. It's about breaking the curse that binds her. Can it be done? Jared asked, his voice barely steady. Yes, but we'll need to confront the one who cast the curse. We must face Marie's family and get them to lift it alone. Jared's heart sank. The family had moved to a secluded town far away, but he had no choice. Father McGrady's help, they located his parents. Confronting them wasn't easy. They hadn't forgiven him. He could see the hatred in their eyes as they relived their daughter's tragic fate, but he begged them to end the curse, explaining how it tormented not only Sophie but him too. Slowly, their anger softened, and after hours of conversation, they agreed. The curse was lifted. Jared returned to the farmhouse with a sense of relief. He expected Sophie to be free, ready to awaken from her nightmare. But as he approached her room, Father McGrady intercepted him, his face pale. She's gone, Jared, he stammered. Jared's heart pounded. He rushed into the room and found Sophie's bed empty. But on the wall, scrawled in her handwriting, were the words, "The debt has been paid." It was only then he realized the terrifying truth. Sophie's possession wasn't just about vengeance. It had been a pact. Marie's spirit had found a way to reach beyond death, not only to torment him, but to claim another soul in her place. Somewhere, in the echoing darkness, Jared heard Marie's laughter, and he knew he'd been outwitted. In breaking the curse, he hadn't saved Sophie. He'd freed Marie to take her place.